But the things Hélène witnessed, the things she heard, the lies, the little deceits, the deeds she could never mention, all of them she'd rather not have known. After crossing a small field edged by wild poppies, she headed through a walnut grove, picking her way to avoid the waddling geese, until she eventually reached the track and her own gate. She frowned to see the worn wooden gate had been left open. They never did that. Their higgledy-piggledy farmhouse seemed to have grown out of the land naturally, its hand-hewn limestone walls soaking up the sunlight, so by early evening they glowed, golden and honeyed. She passed the chestnut tree in the garden and glanced up at the foliage-draped facade. The vines remained undisturbed, cascading around the front door just as she'd left them, too early yet for the violet passion flowers she loved. 2 medium-sized shuttered windows, painted dusky blue, flanked the oak door, and as the wind got up and the creaky wooden shutters moaned in complaint, she shivered. She burst through the door, hurrying into the kitchen to drop her bag on the table. From the huge rough-hewn beams above her, herbs hung to dry. Rosemary, lavender, bay, mint, sage, thyme, and more. Hélène raised her head and breathed in their familiar scent, before unlacing her shoes and abandoning them on the flagstone floor, hollowed in well-worn patches from centuries of passing feet. Hélène liked to imagine who had been there before her, and on dark nights it wasn't difficult to imagine their shadows, still collecting in the gloomier corners of the house, along with the cobwebs. But most people were living in the shadows, one way or another, and not just the dead. She shivered again and glanced at the huge fireplace with its carved stone surround. Even in spring the house could be chilly in the evening, but the wood burner hadn't been lit. Back in the hall, she thought she heard someone at the top of the house. "Hello?" she called out. "Florence? Is that you?" No reply. "Elise? Are you home?" Chapter 2. Hélène paused for a moment and looked around, feeling uncertain. She was about to go into the sitting room, just in case, when she spotted Elise struggling down the stairs with a bulky bundle, her body tipping back slightly to counterbalance its weight. As usual, she was wearing dark, wide-legged trousers, along with a faded blue jumper and brown lace-up boots. With long, dark, wavy hair and huge, expressive eyes, the colour of cognac, she looked just like their mother. Relieved now to see her, Hélène let out her breath. "You're back early," Elise said, but then glanced down at her wristwatch. "Oh, not so early." "You left the gate open. I think it might have been Florence." "It gave me a scare." Despite her huge bundle, Elise managed a shrug. "So, what's that you've got?" Just some bits and pieces for a new safe house." Elise tilted her head to one side and narrowed her eyes at Hélène. "Do you know you have paint in your hair? Rather a lot, actually." "Oh, God, really?" Hélène stepped back to glance in the hall mirror and saw the telltale white streaks running through her hair and a delicate splatter on her left cheek. In their hallway, oil paintings and posters peppered the walls, and framed pictures the girls had drawn as children were displayed together. The large mirror, into which Hélène was now frowning, with its ornate carving of grapes and trailing vine leaves, had reflected their faces most of their lives. They were either held up by their mother, Claudette, when they were small, to grin and laugh at their own expressions, or, as now, they glanced at it for a quick check of their hair. There was also an older, yellowing photograph pinned there, a shot of their mother with her sister Rosalie, not long before she had run away.